Thank you so much, and welcome to our math lecture for today. This is being recorded live on YouTube as we speak. We have a live audience in the classroom today. Woohoo, go you guys. And then, of course, we have our YouTube audience that's listening on the YouTube waves. So let's get started with our math lecture. Today, we're going to be working on simplifying math expressions. Go ahead and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with how confident you are with simplifying mathematical expressions, 1 being not so confident, 10 being very confident. Let's see what you guys say. All right, we got 8s, we got 3s, 5s, 7s, 4s. We got a wide gamut of numbers. I did not see any zeros. I didn't see any negatives, but we have anywhere from 3 to 8. I didn't see any 10s either, so there's plenty of space to grow. So let's get started with simplifying mathematical expressions. Let us take notes. And remember, this session's been recorded, so I don't expect you to write all of this down. You can always review it as needed. A numeric or mathematical expression is when you put numbers, symbols, and math signs together to show some kind of value or calculation. If that makes sense to you, drop a yes. Any type of mathematical expression, if you have numbers, if you have symbols, if you have a plus, subtract, divide, that is a numerical or mathematical expression, okay? Think about a math expression as setting up a story. It's going to tell you what happened, what was added, what was multiplied, what was changed. And you get all of that without solving it. So there's going to be some mathematical expressions on the exam that you just need to see what happened, but it's not asking you to solve. They're not asking you for an answer. Does that make sense? Sometimes when we do math, we always think that we have to have an answer, but there's going to be some parts on there where they're not asking you to solve, like this one right here. It's not asking you to solve. It's just asking you what's the mathematical expression, okay? If that's good for you and you're ready to move on, go ahead and drop ready in the chat box. If you're confused, drop the word help so I can see if I need to explain it a little bit more. Okay, looks like we are saying ready and that we are good. Perfect. Let's look at some examples of mathematical expressions. Who can unmute their mic and read this mathematical expression? Any bold people out there?
-5?
-5 is correct. Thank you, Isabel. Patricia, read the next one, Patricia. Great job, Isabel.
That one is 3 times -9. 3x.
3 times negative.
Yeah.
Nope, you're right. This is 3 times -9. And we know this is not an x because we're going to learn that if this was an x, 1, it would be connected right to the 3, and it would be slanted, italicized like these here. So you were correct. 3 times -9. I need one more person to read this one to me here.
As 100 plus 20, -4 plus 1.
Very good, Santiago. Santiago read 100 plus 20, negative 4 plus 1, which could also be read as 100 plus 20 minus 4 plus 1. Negative and minus are the same thing. They are synonymous. It's like saying a cookie and a chocolate chip cookie. It's still a cookie. Same thing, synonymous. Very good. Thank you so much for the volunteers who read the screen. So remember, a numeric or mathematical expression may be simplified by using PEMDAS, which is the order of operations. And everybody in here who's working towards that exam, passing it, we should have completed Module 1, which we learn about PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you do not know anything about PEMDAS, please go back to Module 1 and watch that lecture, because if you don't understand the order of operation, anything we do after that is going to be confusing, okay? Hopefully everybody in here understands parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Follow those orders in the order of operation. So for this one, for example, if we were to work out the one that Santiago just read to us, we would have to start with adding up what's in the parentheses first. Then we can move on to adding and then subtracting. But we would have to follow the order of operations. If that makes sense, please drop a yes in the chat box. If it does not, you may drop a no at this time. Patricia, you have a question. Go ahead and ask. Maybe that was an accident. That's okay. All right, let's continue on. Let's work on some vocabulary. You don't have to unmute your mic, but repeat after me. You don't have to unmute your mic, but make sure you repeat after me. Here we go. Variable. Everybody say variable. Now let's read what a variable is. A variable is a symbol that stands for an unknown number or value, and it is written in italics such as X. When we see those variables, like on this picture, more than likely they are written slanted. That way you can tell this is not asking you to multiply, this is a variable. If that makes sense, you guys know what I'm looking for. Drop your yeses, let me know that you understand the word variable. Perfect. Shout out to Nelly, most used IXL person of the week. Nelly, you get 100,000 points for having the most used IXL account this week with your practice. Congratulations. I'm watching you guys, and I see you on there practicing. I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work. Here comes the next word. Repeat after me. Coefficient. Say it again. Coefficient. A coefficient is a number that multiplies the variable, such as 5x. The coefficient in this case is 5. So if we were to multiply this out, this is really saying 5 times x. Although x is unknown, whatever x is, we're going to have to multiply it by 5. If that makes sense, drop a yes. If not, and you need me to go deeper, drop a help. Okay, I see yeses coming through. Perfect. Last word. No, a mistake. It's okay, we all make mistakes. Let's see if I can fix that mistake. And I don't see them coming up. This is not called coefficient. This should be called the constant term. Let's try that again. Constant term. Okay, repeat after me. Constant term. One more time. Constant term. I'm imagining that I can hear you guys saying it. So I hope that you are, else I'm imagining silliness. So a constant term is a number that is added or subtracted in a variable expression. A constant term. And I did not put an example on here, so let me show you what I mean by constant term. If I wrote 5b minus 8, we know that 5 is going to be the coefficient. The constant term is going to be negative 8. And I need you to make sure you take the sign with the number so that you don't get confused, okay? So I want you guys to show me that you understand by telling me what's the constant term in my next equation. Constant term is which number? And I'm so glad that you guys knew you didn't have to add this plus 3 because a 3 is already positive. Let's do one more just to make sure you understand. What if I said 4b divided by 8? What is the constant term? There's no stopping you guys. What if I said 7x times negative 6? What is the constant term? Drop a yes if you're good and you don't need any more examples. Ready to move on? Okay, let's move on. Here comes your practice. 4 plus 7x. 4 plus 7x. What is the variable? Drop your answer in the chat box and I'll write what you say. What is the variable? I'm going to go with the majority rules answer. Variable is x. What is the coefficient? Coefficient is 7. What is the constant term? Let's not confuse coefficient with the constant term. Very good. 4 is the constant term. So again, 7 is the coefficient because it's the one attached to the variable. And 4 is going to be the constant term. We're adding 4. Number 2, what is the variable? Our variable is j. What is the coefficient? Tricky, tricky, tricky. What is j times 0? If I said j times 0, there we go, Shantae. Shantae has it, 10,000 points. The coefficient is going to be 1 because we have 1j. 1 times j is j. If it was 0, 0 times j would be 0. Does that make sense? Let me know yes if it makes sense. Say no if it doesn't. Let's talk about it. Okay, now think about this. What is the constant term? Don't be afraid. It's not 1 because we don't have a plus 1. This one would be 0. This is going to be nothing. Does that make sense why the coefficient is 1 and the constant term is 0? Drop a yes if you understand. If you see this again, you're going to get it right. Drop a no if you just need one more practice with a simple variable. Okay, then let's do the last one. What is the variable? I see you, Miss Freeman. I'll make sure we get one more in. Variable. What is the coefficient? Carefully now, careful. Very good. Coefficient, Miss Freeman, is the number attached to the variable. What's the number attached to the variable? That's going to be 9 because it's 9f. And what is our constant term? Perfect. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Is it 8 or is it -8? Make your final choice and send it in. Let's look at it. It's -8. Don't forget to have that negative if it's a negative number. Drop a yes if you're good to move forward. Drop a no if you need one more. I'm waiting for everybody. We leave no one behind. So if you are feeling like you need to say no, say it. We're not going to get mad. Everybody can practice one more time. So far, I don't see any no's. Okay, there we go. Let's practice one more again. Here we go. Okay, let me get it together over here, y'all. What is the variable? We have -6k plus 12. What is the variable? Everybody drop that variable in the chat. Jennifer, you just send it to me telepathically because I saw your message earlier. There's no need to have to pick up your phone. Only seeing a few so far. I forget I have 2 Jennifers. That was for Jennifer Rivera. I got your message. Okay. K is our variable. What is our coefficient? Ms. Freeman, make sure you drop those answers so I can make sure you're understanding. Daviana just got in and already getting it. Good job. -6 is the coefficient, and what is the constant term? There's no stopping you. If you're ready to take it up a notch, go ahead and send me ready in the chat box, and we will take it up a notch. If this is not making sense to you, please remember this session's being recorded, so you will have time to practice again. Let's use our brain and let's get to thinking. I want you to write each verbal phrase as a variable expression, meaning put what I say into a mathematical sentence. A number decreased by 21. How would you write that? Like this. A number decreased by 21. We don't know what that number is, so we need to give it a variable. And you can give it any variable you want to give it. It needs to have a variable decreased by 21. I see many of you chose X as a variable. There's no right or wrong answer. You can choose any letter to represent that number. Anybody confused? If you're confused, say I am. Patricia, that is a very good attempt. However, we just need to have one number decreased by 21. So let's look at what this is saying. It says a number. So I could have just put in for number. Decreased. Decrease means to subtract by 21. N minus 21 would have been okay. J minus 21 is okay. K minus 21, X minus 21, all of those are correct. So if you had something similar to that, give yourself a check. Great job. Let's try it again. Ready? Here comes the next one. 325 more than Kristen's rent. 325 more than Kristen's rent. How would you write that? Stephanie, can you keep it consistent with how it's read? 325 more than Kristen's rent. While that is correct, let's see if you can keep the numbers in alignment with how it's written. There we go. 325 more. More is going to be a math symbol than Kristen's rent. How is that going to look? Okay, I see. We got 325 plus K, 325 plus J, 325 plus R for rent, 325 plus N for number. All of these are correct. 325, the symbol for more is plus Kristen's rent. We can do an R for rent. We can do a K for Kristen. We can do an N for number. If that makes sense to you, drop a yes. And let's see if we can do it backwards. Good job. You have 2 to do. I want to see what you can do. Don't send me your answers until I ask for them. But when you're ready and you have it, send me ready in the chat box. This time, you're going to write a verbal expression. This is backwards again. Hold on, y'all. We're going to write a verbal expression for our numerical expression. There we go. So this time I need you to put it into words. You can choose whatever the H stands for. You can choose whatever the B stands for. When you have both of these and you're ready and you have it in words, drop the word ready in the chat box. You have 2 minutes. Okay, times is up. Send me ready if you are ready to drop your answer. Send me help if you are. Okay, drop your answers. Let's see what we have. And I do see the help button, so I'll explain as well. But let's see what people have so far. So Jennifer says 3 times a number h plus 4. 3 times h increased by 4. Natalia. Isabel says 3 times h plus 4. Anybody else? You can also start dropping what you have for the second one. 3 times a number plus 4. 21 divided by a negative number. Let's talk about number 2. When we are using fractions, the numerator is divided by the denominator. So number 2 would be a negative number. Or you can even say a negative, because it's a B, I'm going to say a negative bill, because it's a bill coming out of my account. So I can use B for bill. See if I can get my pencil back. It just disappeared on me. Let's try that again. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. Here we go. So a negative number or a negative bill divided by 21. Does that make sense? You can say a negative number, a negative amount divided by 21. So let's do one more to make sure we're good. What is this? Write that in words. What do we have? That is an A, by the way, not a 9. Yep. A number divided by 45. Easy. Drop a yes if we are good. Drop a no if we are not. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, it's time. Okay, so I have to tell you guys this because you just gotta know. So my sister, Crystal, who is the math genius of the family, created this lesson from here on out, from this point here to the end of this lesson. I did this up here because I did this lesson. She teaches me, so I had to sit down in her classroom to really learn how to do this so I can teach it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, Lord. Hold on, let me show you what I saw. Let me get to it real quick because we're going to get to it. I start seeing these types of things and this and then this. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So we had to just take it a little bit at a time, but we're going to get to it and let's see how to do it, okay? So simplification. What is simplification? What is simplification in mathematics? Isabel, if you don't mind, can you unmute your mic and read this first paragraph to us?
In math, simplification is a process process of making an expression or equation easier to work with or understand. While I can't read the other part. I don't know for some
While
reason.
is it blocking you here?
Yes.
While maintaining its value or meaning. Can everybody see this whole paragraph? Let me know if I have something in the way here. Thank you, Isabel, for reading that so beautifully.
You're welcome.
Okay, so math simplification is making an expression easier to understand. Remember in the beginning, I told you sometimes they're going to give you questions. They don't want the answer, they want you to make it simple. Okay? Here are some common ways to simplify in mathematics. Combining like terms. Like terms are like families. You cannot really combine your X's with your Y's or your N's with your B's. My sister always explains that you have your Acuras, you have your Buicks, and you have your Cadillacs. You can't put Acura parts on a Cadillac. You can't put Cadillac parts on a Buick. You gotta keep the families separated. So let's see, for example, if I have 2A plus 3B plus 3A plus 1C, and I need to make this simple, the first thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. I'm going to combine my 2A with my 3A. How many Acuras do I have? 2A plus 3A is going to give us what, everybody? Make it simple. We have 5 A's plus 3B plus C, and this becomes the answer. They didn't ask us to solve, they just said make it simple. Drop a yes if that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to erase the screen here. Another way to simplify is to simplify fractions. If we had 12 over 24, this can become even more simple. How do we do that? We have to find the greatest common factor. How do we do that? You need to write out the factors. What equals 12 when multiplied? 1 times 12. I'll start with 1, then I go to 2. 2 times 6. Is there anything with 3? Yes, 3 times 4. I know there's not a 5, and I already have a 6. So I know that I can stop there. Okay, now I'm going to do 24. 1 times 24. Okay. 2 times 12. Okay. 3 times 8. Cool. And 4 times 6. I know it's not a 5. I already have my 6. So I'm done. Because I start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you get through those first couple of numbers, you really just start to eliminate a lot of the other ones. So let's see our greatest common factor. Nellie, you are correct. They both can be divided by 12. 12 is the biggest number that they both have in common. That is why it's called the greatest common factor. So let's divide both of these by 12. 12 divided by 12 is going to equal, what's 12 divided by 12? It's a 1. And 24 divided by 12 is 2. So we made this fraction simple, and it's the same as 1/2. So we can also simplify fractions. Drop a yes if you understand that. Perfect. The last thing we can do is simplify mathematical rules and properties by going ahead and squaring and doing our square roots. So if we have something like 5 to the second power plus 10 plus 3. Simplify. What's 5 to the second power? It's the same as saying 5 times 5. It's 25. So we really have 25 plus 10 plus 3. And now we can solve our answer. So go ahead and simplify. Make it simple. Work it out. Is there a question?
Oh.
Someone has their microphone unmuted. Desmond, your microphone is unmuted.
Goddamn pigs.
Desmond.
I'm saying Rachel.
Jeez. Okay. We're going to mute Desmond there. And since you did not respond, Desmond, and say, oops, my bad, or nothing, I'm going to assume that you're not listening and expel you from the class. Y'all. Okay. We'll continue. All right. Let's continue on. That was on live, y'all. Okay. Can't go back and unmute what we had just heard. Let's continue with our practice. Mathematics symbols that require simplification. So how do I know if I need to simplify something? Fractions. Okay, Desmond's coming back in, but I'm going to give him grace. I just want you guys to know this. If he disturbs our class again, I'm going to remove him and I'm not going to let him back in. Okay, just letting you guys know. 12 divided by 3. That is a fraction. Here is another fraction. Exponents. We just talked about that. Go ahead and solve the exponents, okay? If you see things in square roots, go ahead and work it out. Work them square roots out. Get rid of the square root symbol. Get rid of parentheses. Make it simple. Go ahead and solve what's in those parentheses to get rid of it and make it simple. If you understand this, you already know what I'm looking for. Go ahead and drop your yes in the chat box. This is probably going to be the year that you drop the word yes the most, because we're going to get this done this year. We're not going to be doing this next year. Next year, we're going to be in college, being in mechanic school, wherever you want to go. Okay, let's practice. You guys ready? I already gave you a preview of what Crystal did, so it's time for us to go ahead and jump in it. Here we go. Simplify the following expressions. Basically, this means to solve. So what is the answer? Make it simple. Put it all together. What do you get? Denise has dropped an answer. Remember PEMDAS. Hold on. Okay, everybody has the right answer. We're all getting 80. Are there any questions? If not, drop no and we'll look at the next. Hold on, Mom. Okay, you guys try number 2. Let me know. We're getting two different answers, so I'm going to ask everybody to check your answers now and make sure you're following PEMDAS. Drop your final answer in the chat. Okay, so the first one was pretty smooth. Let's see what's going on with the second one. So what I would do, kind of what Shantae said, using PEMDAS. Start with the parentheses. 5 minus 2 is going to be 7. So we have 3 times 7 to the third power minus 6. So far, am I right, everybody, with what you did? Because I'm not sure how y'all got 21 when I have to multiply 7 to the third power. Can't be no 21, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's do 7 times 7 equals 49. But I got to do one more 7 because it says 3 7. 49 times 7. That one I got to get my calculator out. 49 times 7 is... Oh, y'all. Guess who's in my room correcting me and my mistakes? The lovely Crystal Hills is here, y'all. Give it up for Crystal Hills. That is my big sister. When I tell you, she be teaching me some math, and you guys are catching it too. Look at Jennifer. Jennifer saying, how is 5 minus 2, 7? Because, Jennifer, I messed up. Oh, my goodness. Let me try it again. 5 minus 2 is 3. On the YouTube live, Shantae. To the third power. Okay. Am I correct now? Check my work, everybody. Isabel just gave me the green light. Sorry if I scared anybody out there. That's what happens with math. Okay. So am I good? Shantae says I'm okay. Perfect. So now we can do 3 times 3 equals 9. One more 3 times 3 equals 27. So that leaves me with 3 times 27 minus 6. Am I in a good space now? We just saw even players mess up. Okay. I'm getting a yes from Isabel. I'm getting a yes from Crystal and Roxana. Perfect. Okay. Now I need to multiply 3 times 27. Correct, everybody? So let's do it. 27 times 3 equals 81. So when I multiply these, I get 81 minus 6. Uh-oh. I think my 75 people were correct. 81 minus 6 equals 75. 75 was the answer. Let me know what you think. Do we got it? Does it make sense? For those of you who had 21, do we see where we went wrong? Nellie is saying no. Nellie, can you unmute your mic and talk to me? Let me know or tell me in the chat box what happened if you're confused on anything.
Confused with 27.
With 27, how do we get 27? Nellie's asking. Okay, Nellie, let's go back.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm glad you unmuted your mic. So let's look at our problem again. Right here, we have to solve what's in the parentheses. 5 minus 2 is 3. So we were left with 3 in the parentheses times 3, but look at this. We have to square what's in the parentheses. Nellie, What is 3 squared, which is the same as saying 3 times, I'm sorry, not 3 squared, 3 cubed, which is the same as saying 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. That's how we got the 27, Nelly. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. All right, everybody. Are we clear on number 2? Drop a yes if we are clear. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to the next one. Just as a side note, write this down, please. Anything to the 0 power. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to put it in your calculator. Do 5 to the 0 power and tell me how much does it equal. Use your calculators. What is 5 to the 0 power? Use your calculator to make sure. I have 2 answers that are correct so far, waiting for others to send theirs in. Okay, so the majority of us are saying 1, but let's try another one just to be sure. What is 428 to the 0 power? Wow, okay, hold on. What if it's negative? What is negative 81 to the 0 power? Drop your answer. This is a great time for us to look at calculator skills because any number to the 0 power is going to equal 1. Any number to the 0 power, whether it's negative or positive, is going to equal 1. Before we solve this last one here, let's go look at a calculator. I'm going to do the TI-35X online calculator. Here it is. So you can see exactly how I put this in. Okay, here's the calculator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 81, negative 81 in parentheses. So I open the parentheses here. Hold on, let me zoom my calculator out so I can see that negative. I think it's this one here. Negative 81, parentheses closed. I'm going to use this caret top here to say I want an exponent. Put 0 and enter. Boom. It equals 1. But if I was to just do 81 like this, caret top 0, it's going to give me the wrong answer. So it's very important that we are putting these in correctly and using parentheses to isolate our negative numbers so that the calculator does not calculate them together. Does that make sense, everybody? Learning how to use this calculator is going to be half the battle. I sure can, Roxana. Roxana's saying, show me again. So, Roxana, one more time. Let me clear my screen. I'm using parentheses to isolate negative numbers. I put my negative 81 in parentheses instead of leaving it out there by itself. Then I can hit this caret top button. You see this little up tick here? That means go to my exponents. It gave me a little box. Press 0 to the 0 power. press enter, and that is the number. Okay. Does anybody want this link to practice in case you don't have your TI yet? Can you show by writing it all out without the calculator? Yes, I can. Just be careful on this calculator that you use to not press too much stuff around here, because I don't want you getting anything on your computer or on your phone, okay? It does have some little pop-ups and stuff, so just be careful with using this calculator, but I will put it, see how I just did this to me? Just close it out. I will put this link in the chat box for you so that you can at least practice using a TI before you get your own. Their own, not on sale, but they can be found on Amazon in case you want to purchase one. Okay, so I did have a request to write it out. So let me write it out, just the 81 that I just did. Okay, so that Shantae can see how it's written. So if I was to write it out, Shantae, oh, you mean the entire problem? This one here. This one we're just simplifying, okay? So just simplify it. If you want to put it directly into the calculator, this is a great time to practice. Once you have your answer, drop it in the chat box. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to work this one out without going to the calculator first, but I'm gonna need your help. So let's redo this one, okay? 4 minus 10. You had $4 in your bank account, you spent $10. How much are we gonna have here once we simplify 4 minus 10? There's a big difference between a positive 6 and a negative 6. And that difference can be passing the test with a 145 or missing it with a 144. If I have $4 and I spend 10, I'm not going to have a positive 6. I'm going to have a negative 6. And if you're not sure, please use your calculator. So I have negative 6 plus negative 2. I'm going to put this in parentheses. Times, what is 0 minus 9? To the 0 power. I can go ahead and say that, do my exponents. 0 minus 9 to the 0 power. That is going to be a 1. Now I can continue to simplify. Negative 2 times 1, it's going to give us a negative 2. So we have negative 6 plus negative 2. What is negative 6 plus negative 2? It's what the majority of you were saying, negative 8. Look at you guys simplifying expressions. Do you think that you would have known how to do this prior to coming to class today, seeing a problem like this, and knowing exactly what to do? Whether you did or you didn't, you are getting stronger in solving mathematical expressions. Okay, great job. If you're ready to move forward, say ready. If you need to run this problem again, maybe you're confused, drop a help so I can know if there's anybody confused. Looks like we are all ready to move forward. All right. Okay, you said it, then let's go. Send me your answers in the chat box. Here's the first one. You have 30 seconds. This is a timed quiz in the middle of our session here. Send your answer. 2 to the 5th power. What do you? Anybody confused on why we're all saying 32? Doesn't look like it. Here comes the next one. Solve. Remember I had you do that practice with those square roots? We should already know the square root of 225 without going to our calculator if we've been practicing. So what is the square root of 225 times 5 squared? Send your answers in the chat box. You have 1 minute for this. Okay, what's the square root of 225, everybody? Let's see if we got the right answer. Just because we had different answers for this one. So we have 15. The square root of 225 is 15 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. I don't know where I was going with that. I didn't even set it up right. Hold on. We have 5 squared. Okay. We have 15 times 25. There we go. Come on, Stephanie. Train up a teacher in the right way. 15 times 25 is going to give us 375. Miss Freeman, I'm going to give you a few seconds because I see that you just sent the answer for the first one. I want to make sure you have this one. If you got 375, you are correct. Anybody confused on how we got 375? We got to take our time because even I'm messing up by not making sure. So Patricia, unmute your mic and tell me where I can help you when it comes to this one. Tell me where you got lost.
I got lost on the. Are we timesing 225 to 5 square too?
It says the square root of 225. Do you remember how we find the square root? Remember on the first day of class, I gave everybody the assignment to write their squares and square roots.
Yeah, I do
So
remember that.
15 times 15 equals 225. So the square root of 225 is 15. So this is saying 15 times 25.
Because 5 times 5 is 25, and then 15
5
times
squared
15
is 25. 15 times 25 is going to give us 375. Does that make sense, Miss Patricia?
Yes, I think I had better go over my square roots again.
Yes, from 1 to 20, you need to know them all, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you don't remember them and you're able to use your calculator, the square root symbol is this green symbol here above x squared. So what you can do is click the second button, square root symbol, and put the number under the square root, press enter, and it will tell you the answer. Okay? So you can use your calculators, just use that square root symbol. Okay, let's continue on to the third one here. 10 plus the square root of 100 minus 5 squared. When you have your answer, drop it in. Okay, anybody confused on how we got -5? For the sake of time, does anybody need an explanation for the last one? Looks like we are good to move on. Great job, everybody. Let's take it to the next level. Great job, Patricia. Simplify the following expression. It's not asking for an answer. It's not asking for you to solve for W. Just simplify. When you have it, drop it in the Don't forget the variable. We have our coefficient, but we also need a If we all have the same family, Stephanie, we can continue to make it even more simple. Combine all the Denise, don't forget the variable. We have to have a coefficient and a variable. Anybody confused on how we got -4W? 5 minus 14 plus 12 minus 7. If we put just the coefficients in our calculator, we're going to get a -4, and all we have to do is add the variable, -4W. Great job. Y'all are doing amazing. Here's your next one. Drop your answers. They all have the same variable, so we can combine them all, have one coefficient, one variable. Okay, remember, if it's 26 minus 12w, 26w minus 12w, we can still simplify at that point. Now for my people with the x's, negative 32x is correct. Anybody confused? Let me. Do I need to explain how we got negative 32x? Most of us got it. If you didn't get it, it was probably just a small mathematical error. But again, those small errors can make or break us on a test. So negative 2 plus 7, that's going to be 5 minus 20. That to me should be 5 minus 20, negative 15. And then minus 17, negative 32. X. Don't forget that X. Negative 32x. Look at this important note that Crystal wants us to remember. Variables with exponents are in different families than variables without exponents. Remember we talked about those Cadillacs, those Acuras and Buicks? Well, if you have a P, that's a Pontiac. But if you have a P squared, that's a Pontiac CTE. Those are two different types of cars, and you cannot put those together. So put your P squareds with P squareds, put your P's with P. Who can unmute their mic because they're bold and ready? And walk me through solving this one. What would you say for me to do to solve this one? Anybody?
Would we do the exponents first?
We don't, yeah, let's do the exponent first. What would you do?
Negative 6 to the power of 2, and then plus 20 to the power of 2.
So one thing I want to show you is this P2 is the variable. So the
Okay.
P is the only thing that's being squared. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And I'm just saying it
Okay.
with how you read it. So this would be negative 6p squared. 20p squared. So yes, we'll combine these first. What is 20 minus 6? Don't forget your variable. And who was reading that to me? Was that Isabel? Was that you, Isabel? If so, great job.
That was me, Patricia.
Oh, Patricia, great job, Patricia. Okay. So we have 20 minus 6, we have 14p squared. So we've gotten rid of these and these. So what's next? Patricia, you still there?
14. Yes.
Okay, what's next?
Next we'll do the 9p minus the p.
Okay, what's
mean
9p minus p? 1p, basically.
Would be 9.
9 minus p. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 here.
Yeah, that'll be 8.
8. So we have
8p.
plus 8p. And this is our answer. 14p squared plus 8p. Correct, Santiago. Yes. Thank you, Patricia, for helping us with that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Does that make sense, everybody? You can't combine squared. And even if we had a p to the third power, we can't combine that with p to the second power. Keep your exponents in different families, okay? So let's give it a look-see. You know Crystal has something for us to practice. Here is the first question. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression 7x minus 8x minus 9y? Drop your answer once you feel like you have it. Uh-oh, we have two different answers so far. Stephanie and Nelly, check your answers. Okay, so it's a toss-up between A and C. 7 minus 8. Is that going to be positive or is that going to be negative? That's the difference between A and C. 7 minus 8 is going to be a negative 1. A does not say a negative 1x. It only has a positive x. So the best answer for this is going to be C. Anybody confused on why C is the best answer for this? I'm waiting about 5 more seconds to see if anybody's confused. Okay, Rolando, thank you for clarifying that for me. Keep that in mind, Rolando, okay? We don't want to make mistakes when we're doing that exam. Let's try another one. Simplify the following expression. 5y squared plus 6y squared minus 10y. What do we get? Drop your answer once you know it, but check it before you drop. All right, let's see if it's D or A. Again, we're stuck between D or A, stuck between two answers. Here we have 2y squareds. We have a 5y squared and a 6y squared. If we put 5 and 6 together, that's going to be 11y squared minus 10y. I don't know how you guys got 61y. We're not multiplying. It just told us to add them together. So D is going to be the best answer. Does that make sense for anybody who chose another answer? Why is C not the right answer? This does not say 11y squared, so this cannot work. Why is B not the answer? This does not say minus 10y, which is what we originally had, so this does not work. Why is A not the answer? There is nothing that got us 61y. We only have a negative 10y. Patricia, do you have a question? Okay, maybe that hand raise was just an accident. Just want to make sure. Okay, are we clear on this one? Drop a yes if you are.
Miss Jennifer, I did
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
When it tells us to simplify, because see, I'm have a hard time with the reading of the solving of the problems, but so it's telling us not to do the square, add the square. That's where I got 61. I added 5 square plus 6 square 2 and 5 square. So what I just needed to do was just add the 5 and the 6, right? And it's not telling me to do the square.
Right. So remember the 5 is the coefficient, right? We're
Yeah.
not squaring the coefficient. We're squaring the unknown number. So if they told us that y equals 3, then we would know what y was, and this will become 5 times 3 squared. But because we don't know what y is, there's nothing we can square. Don't square the coefficient. We just
Oh,
group these together to be 11y squared. And again, if
oh.
11, if the y was 3, then we would do 11 times 3 squared. So
So,
Crystal's saying
well,
exponents come before multiplication. So make sure you check to see which ones have the exponents, but we don't have to multiply them.
so what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the y square instead of if it was 5 square, it would be the square would be on the opposite side of the y. It'd be 5. Yeah, that would be it. Yeah.
Mhm,
Okay, I was looking at it like that, like the way you wrote it down.
mhm.
Okay, I got it now.
Perfect. Great. I'm
Okay.
glad you
All
got it.
right, thank you. Yay.
You are
Thank you.
welcome. Woohoo! Come on, our brains are
Yay.
working together. Good job. Okay, let's go to the next one. No mistakes. There's no room for errors. We got to get this one right. So make sure you pay attention to what you're seeing. Which of the following is equal to the expression 2x times 4 minus 8y? Good luck. Is there anybody that needs to drop a help out there? I'm feeling it in my bones, but I don't see anybody dropping a help. So I'm just. Yes. I knew it, Stephanie. I could feel it in my bones. Thank you for dropping that help. So let's see, how do we solve something like this? Clearly in the parentheses, we cannot put these two families together, right? So there's nothing we can solve in the parentheses because that 4 doesn't have a y. So we cannot combine those things. So what do we do after checking the parentheses? Remember that parentheses also means to multiply. So we need to multiply 2x times everything in the parentheses. So what is 2x times 4? That is going to give us 8x. So far, does that make sense how I got 8x for 2x times 4? You can't add and subtract things without other variables, but you can multiply them, okay? Now we're going to multiply 2x times negative 8y. What is positive 2 times negative 8? Deviana is saying negative 16. That is correct. And we add the variables in alphabetical order, x, y. Got to add both of them. So this becomes our answer, 8x minus 16xy. If you said B, you had the correct answer. Let's try another one like this again to make sure you understand how to do it, okay? Shantae, if they don't tell you what x is, or it doesn't have 2x times 4 minus 8 equals 356, there's no need to solve. And in our directions, it's saying simplification. And in our answer choices, it's not asking us to solve. So you can use all of those clues to say, I don't need to solve. I just need to make it simple. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's try 4p times 3 minus 7r. When you have the answer, drop it in the chat box. Isabel, check your variables.
I meant P, but I hit the wrong one.
No worry. For that last answer, y'all, we should have 2 letters together, because if we multiply 4p times 7r, we're going to have a number PR. So remember, put those last variables together. Don't leave them out. So if we multiply 4p times 3, that's 12p. 4p times negative 7r is a minus or negative 28pr. Drop a yes if that makes sense to you and you understand now. Great job, Ms. Freeman. You are correct. Thank you. Okay. We're going to clear off our screen here. Here is an important note. A number directly outside of a parentheses means to multiply that number by everything inside of the parentheses. That's what we just did on here. So keep that in mind. It's wise to simplify first if you can. So let's work this one together to see what Crystal's talking about when she gives us this note. She says it's wise to simplify first if you can. So let's simplify what's in this first parentheses. What is 10y minus 16y? Ten minus 16, what are we getting? It's not going to be positive. Okay, so when we simplify 10 minus 16y, we get negative 6y times negative 6. So far, we have simplified the first set. Let's go to the second set. We cannot simplify what's in the parentheses because this does not have a y for us to add or subtract together. So instead, this is where we need to multiply. Negative 9 times 6 is what, everybody? So that's going to turn into a positive 54. Notice that I wrote my sign positive so I can remember that it's no longer negative. Positive 54. And then what is negative 9 times a positive 7y? Okay, Isabel, I see your answer. Let's see if others agree with what you say. Are you sure, Roxana? It's going to be positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. There we go. Negative 63y. Anybody confused? Now we can simplify. We need to multiply this right here. Negative 6 times negative 6y which I think Nelly put earlier. That's going to be a positive 36y. Okay, I've done enough. Now it's your turn. I think I put that too close. Hold on, y'all. Let me not put it on the plus sign. It's your turn to solve. Simplify what we have left. We have 36y plus 54 minus 633y. What's going to be our final answer? Simplify. Don't. So let's see. I have negative 27 plus 54. But you can also write this as 54 minus 27y. So negative 27y plus 54 or 54 minus 27y. That is the same answer. Sometimes you'll see it where you might have it this way, but the answer choice has it this way. It's the same thing, okay? Now I'm seeing a help, so let's make sure we can work this through to fully understand it. I'm gonna close out my annotations and try again because there's a lag in my pen a little bit. So let's work this out again to make sure we all understand. First thing we needed to do was simplify what's in this parentheses. And when we did, 10y minus 16y gave us negative 6y. We brought down our 6 here, our negative 6. And then we went on to simplify our other piece of the puzzle here. We multiplied negative 9 times negative 6 and got a positive 54. And then we also multiplied negative 9 times a positive 7y and got a negative 63y. Am I correct so far, everybody? Make sure I'm not messing up on our YouTube Live. Okay, thank you. So now that we have it out of those parentheses, we got it simplified. We still have some work to do. Let's start by parentheses again with PEMDAS, getting rid of these parentheses. We have negative 6 times negative 6y. A negative times a negative is a positive because two negative people are going to get along complaining about the same thing. So we're going to get a 36y. Bring down everything else to make it simple. Plus 54 minus 63y. Now we still have some simplifying to do because I have a y here and a y here that I need to bring together. So what is 36 minus 63? That is how we got that negative 27y. And then we just bring down our constant term plus 54. This becomes the answer. We're not solving for y, we're just trying to make it simple. Go ahead, Miss Patricia.
Okay, that's what I just keep messing up right there with the variables, and I should have kept them. I had the 27, but I didn't
Mhm.
understand where the 54 came, so now I know.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
doing my best to get it.
No, it's okay. But that's why we practice. And I'll make sure we have some IXLs, things that you can practice on with this. So no worries. We only have two more to do, everybody. You guys are doing a great job. So let's continue on. I'm clearing my screen. It's your turn. Simplify the following expression. When you have the answer, drop it in the chat box. I'm going to put on a timer for 5 minutes to give you time to work through.
Great job. Great job. We're going to give a couple more minutes, a couple more seconds for those who are still working on it, but this is really good. How do you feel about simplification in algebra now versus before you started today? Before you started simplification, how did you feel? And how do you feel now?
I love it. Good, confused versus understanding. Crystal, I hope that you are seeing that we are building our brains to be ready to embrace your math class. Anybody confused on how we got our answer? Of course, I'm going to have to work it out. I'm a little nervous. Haven't worked this out. You guys are seeing me do this live. So let's see, how would I work this out? So I can't combine these or these. So it looks like I am going to be multiplying some things out. 4 times negative 2y gives me negative 8y. 4 times 3x is going to give me a positive 12x. So far, am I correct, everybody? Help me out here. Don't let me go too far with getting it wrong. Okay, thank you for confirming. So we have 5 times x. Notice I really don't put this sign until I multiply my first ones, because if it turns out negative, it's going to change my sign. So I wait to multiply first. So 5 times x is going to stay positive. So I have a positive 5x. And then 5 times 7 is going to give me a positive 35. Now it looks like I have 2 families of x's that I need to combine. So I'm going to bring down my negative 8y. 12 plus 5 is 17. So plus 17x plus 35. And if I wanted to keep it in alphabetical order, maybe I would do 17x minus 8y plus 35. Do I have the same answers you all had, even if I didn't write it in the same order? Look at us, we're learning. Yay! Great job, everybody. Here comes your final question of the day. The expression 5p plus 6 times 7p minus 8p plus 3p minus 10p squared is equal to which of the following? Take 5 minutes, send your answers once you have it. Time is up. Drop your answer. All right, let's see if it's A, B, C. I don't think anyone said D, so D's out of there, or E. Okay, let's see. First thing I'm going to do is looking my parentheses. Walk with me through this. Can I combine what's in the parentheses? If so, drop the answer to what's going to be in our parentheses. If I can combine it, if not, say no, it cannot be combined. Let's see what you say. Okay. Stephanie, I see so far you're the only one who has dropped. What is going to be in our parentheses once we simplify? Anybody else? 7p minus 8p, thank you, Nelly, is going to equal negative p. And from there, I'm bringing down everything else. Math is all about following directions and staying in order. Okay, I didn't try to solve anything else. I just did it one step at a time. Now I need to multiply 6 times negative p, which is going to give me a negative 6p plus 3p minus 10p squared. Okay, now I have negative 6p and, oh, whoa, I forgot this was a p. I didn't write that. That's a p. So I have to combine all three of these. 5p minus 6p plus 3p. What do we get there? What is 5 minus 6 plus 3? 5 minus 6 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2p minus 10p squared, which can also be written as negative 10p squared plus 2p. And which of those answers have one of these choices? Those of you who are saying C, you are correct. B does not have that, Isabel. Be careful. There is no squared on this 10. This one has a P2, so Pontiac CTE. So C is the only correct answer, okay? And they will put that on there, so be very careful. Make sure you have the correct answer. It couldn't be D because D did not have a negative 10. Okay? Does that make sense? If that makes sense to you, please drop a yes. Of course, we can practice some more, but at least you can practice on your own now. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I remember your first scores. How do you feel now about simplifying mathematic expressions? Where are you now? Now, of course, we know there are some little times we can mess up with adding versus subtracting, but when it comes to understanding the process, we got 10s, we got 8s and 7s and 9s. No more 3s, no more 4s, no more 5s. We are well versed in simplifying expressions. So please write down these codes. If you want to continue practicing on IXL, try doing J, J, G, and PCU. And then to earn this simplifying algebraic expression badge, level 1, which is what we just covered today, you need to log into eCampus in Module 6. Take the exam pass it with a 70 or higher to show that you have mastered solving algebraic expressions. I'm even going to say pass it with an 80 or higher. I really want to know that you know how to do it. So try your best. I'm going to show you where it is in Module 6. And once our lecture is over, I'm also going to put this inside of Module 6 so that you can watch this if needed. So here it is right here, simplifying mathematical equations. Anybody who gets an 80 or higher will receive this solving algebraic expressions badge via email. Great job. I hope you guys are proud of the work that you have done. There's only 1 hour left in class today. If you reached your capacity and your brain is fried, you are free to log off, but please do not log off without completing that assessment while this is fresh on your brain. So take the remaining hour to do your independent work, and once you're done, you are free to log out. Thursday is our last class. We're going to go over some cladograms for science, so please be ready to end on a science note, and we'll talk about next steps in the next class. Crystal, before we go into our independent class, can you just introduce yourself a little bit and let us know about your math class and how it is run, just in case anybody's interested in joining your math class?
Hello, everyone. It has been a joy watching all of you go through simplification. I know that sometimes math can be difficult, but like Dr. Hill said earlier, it's all about following directions. Yesterday, I had a student that said, everything makes sense to me, and I realized I was having a hard time with math because I didn't know the rules. So once you get acclimated to the rules, it makes it easier for you to comprehend exactly what you're doing. So I know Dr. Hill said that her class ends yet tomorrow.
It ends on Thursday.
Okay, so it ends this week. If